to Talking About Podcast, and I'm your host, Mike McCann. I'm here with the three Halls, and I ain't talking about cough drops. I'm here with super producer Jalen Hall, Gregory Hall, and also Gary Hall. And today, we're going to dive right into Piers Morgan's interview with Tom MacDonald, a guy who did a diss track with Ben Shapiro, of all people, last week. Or actually, yeah, it was last week. It was about 8 days ago. It releases up to 12 million. It's up to 12 million views now. And either way, well, we're going to go ahead and dive into that interview.
Has hip-hop gone woke? I spoke to Ben about his unlikely transformation into a rap heavyweight yesterday. And today I'm joined by the artist who actually crafted the song, Tom MacDonald. So Tom, well, first of all, congratulations on this runaway smash hit. You're actually entitled to celebrate it because you are a bona fide rapper. Ben, I'm not quite so convinced by. Maybe a one-hit wonder. First of all, are you surprised by the backlash, or did you predict the backlash and that was one of the reasons you did the song in the first place?
Well, I've made a lot of sort of anti-woke anthems over the years, and there's always a certain degree of backlash that comes with it. So this one was sort of, a lot of my relationship with the audience is call and response. I make a song, people respond in the way that they do, and then I respond again with the next song. So, Facts with Ben is sort of the cap on a long line of anti-woke anthems that have been met with pretty heavy criticism.
People in the black rap community have come out and said, look, this is just blatant cultural appropriation racism, because you're accusing all their music that they produce of being about selling drugs, pushing guns, stripper poles, turning our sons into thugs and so on. What do you say to that criticism?
I think that there's all types of rappers out there. There's black rappers and white rappers and Asian rappers and Indian rappers, all types of rappers. And I don't think that criticizing sort of the status quo of the genre or criticizing the prevalent content of the music, I don't agree that there's anything racist about that.
What struck me is that there seems to have been more outrage over you guys lampooning this style of rap music than there is about the actual rap music, which often to me gets an extraordinary pass from criticism. And I said to Ben yesterday, when you have John Legend rewriting Baby It's Cold Outside because it's so offensive, but doesn't rewrite any of the lyrics of any of his rap friends, there's an obvious double standard.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that sort of in general, over the last 10 to 15 years, there's been very prevalent themes in hip hop, sort of objectifying women and glorifying violence and romanticizing drug abuse and stuff like that. And I think that hip hop likes to think of itself as quite a woke genre. And none of those things seem to quite align with what the woke mob is standing up and being vocal against. So I think it's a little bit hypocritical, but
Okay, so to start this off,
speak.
Yeah, I do believe that hip hop promotes the glorification of objectifying women, drug use, violence, and all that other terrible stuff, right? But at the same time, I only think that this is pushed and glorified because this is the reality for these people, right? If they were living in suburbs, playing tennis and eating fruit snacks every day, right?
Okay.
You would probably hear some very suburban tennis-based fruit snack music, right?
That's possible.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
You are a reflection of your environment and the things that you see. Now, granted, all of these people can change, do things differently, but as we've seen time and time again, how many people actually change? How many people actually end up doing things differently, right? You know?
My take on that a little bit is also in the rap industry now, a lot of this stuff is getting pushed. Like drill music and the music that's out there, satanic music and
devilish.
Yeah, devilish music. Women, portraying themselves as degrading. Demons and all. So a lot of this stuff is getting pushed out here, and this is kind of what's I guess, being marketed and being sold. And to a certain degree, it used to be like, this is my heritage, you know, and this is where I come from. So I'm just telling you what I know. And that's kind of, you know, at the beginning of rap to a certain extent. Somewhere after it kind of got jumped off, you know, the NWA. I'm just pretty much, you know, telling you about the streets and all this and this what. But that did have a major effect on society. But this music right now is kind of pushing like I said, a total different direction. And so to a degree, I agree with what he's saying. You know, it would, you know, because most this rap music now, that's all they talking about. You know, so I mean, even, you know, it don't matter where you from. Sometimes you can see what's really happening. So should I be offended when somebody actually tells me the truth about myself? Should I be upset when I'm hearing that message? And it's kind of like, to a certain degree, Charleston White. That was basically what the one thing I did really, really agree with Charleston White about is how rap music is affecting the community and bringing, you know, we talking about a lot of these issues and bringing them on ourselves. So that's kind of what he just kind of like, and I'm thinking if I were white, I might think it's just how, you know, that's what it seems like y'all saying. So that is the message.
I'm done mentioning Charleston White. Charleston White is an absolute troll. Charleston White is a person who's, if anybody's an industry plant, it might be Charleston White, a guy who completely always talks about and dogs his own community, regardless if it's talking about the rap music being some type of activist against, you know, drill music and gangster rap and whatnot. I don't know. I don't really F with Charleston White. I don't like the message I don't like the double standard he be putting out there because he won't smoke, but then he acts like he's just an actor and he's just a comedian whenever he gets smoke. And I'm not really there with it all the time with Charleston. But to your point, I think a lot of stuff, I actually agree too. I agree with a lot of what he had to say as well. Now, one thing I don't understand is the wokeness part of it. Like, how is hip hop like a woke genre? First of all, people say woke all the time now, and I don't think anybody even understands what that means anymore. Woke just means being liberal and left at this point in time. That's pretty much what the definition of woke has been turned into. If you support gay people, you're woke. If you support minorities, you're woke. If you support poor people, homeless people, you're woke. And
hip hop has never been woke.
No, that's why I don't understand that part of his message. I don't get at all.
It's been aware.
Yeah,
it's been conscious, but it's not been woke. There have been many slurs, ideologies.
That's all it does is bash all these different communities.
What is it?
Yeah, no, I mean, you can keep going. I don't know, man. It's hard to call it on this because, again, I do believe that it is just a reflection of what the people see and think and feel, right? Yeah.
So, I mean, it is what it is because it is what it is right now.
Do you think people are upset just because he's a Canadian rapper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do find a lot of people to be upset because he is a man from Canada cosplaying as a conservative in America. With his ideologies and rap and all that, right? But yeah.
Was he from a Canadian hood?
I mean, who knows? I know it don't really matter. He's from Canada.
The hood in Canada. Did he come up in the tough streets of Canada?
I mean, there are tough places everywhere.
I'm just saying, but did he? Where did he come from? I'm saying maybe he woke. Because, you know, he been there, done that. You know what I'm saying?
It'd be really,
he had to go through that life.
He's being woke, though.
Yeah, he had to live that life.
Well, I'm just saying,
I'm just saying that.
I'm just saying. I mean, he could, or it'd be a real complete hypocrite if he's a Canadian from the suburbs. Now that'd be really outlandish. I mean, and it also wouldn't really make a lot of sense considering the way, his lifestyle is now. Consider he usually sometimes wears like dreads or cornrows or is tatted in the face. I don't know.
That's the uniform.
It is the uniform.
Yeah, that is the uniform.
It is the rap uniform. So I mean, it's the sexy red.
But at the same time,
it's the 21 Savage. It's the
When you look at him, I don't see a thug. I just see a rebel. I see a rebel going against the grain.
Yeah,
I don't see a violent criminal thug out here, you know, being a menace to society. I see a man who has dealt with and struggled all his life to be accepted for who he is and is fighting for his right to be
The party.
the party. Right. Yeah, kind of like what black people do.
You
every
gotta
day,
fight.
right? But anywho.
All right, let's
Yeah.
get back to it though.
Okay.
Do you think you can be number one on the Billboard chart, or do you think you may get subtly shadow banned to stop you getting there?
Well, it's happened before. I've had Billboard refuse to count my album sales. I'm completely independent. There's no record label. There's no distribution. There's no marketing team, nothing. I make all of my beats. I write all the songs. My girlfriend shoots the music videos, entirely independent of the music industry. So, censorship, suppression, shadow banning, is very familiar with all of those things. Like I said, Billboard's refused to count my album sales before. They've removed me off trending charts on YouTube. My distribution company, TuneCore, which is supposed to be the alternative for artists who don't want to sign a major record deal. That they are supposed to be able to go to TuneCore and independently release their own music. So I had TuneCore deny release of this song and say that they will not host it in any form because of quote unquote lyrical content. So I think I think the buzz is there, and
So the one thing I wanted to say about this, I have to admire the fact that he is an independent artist. I don't know if any of that other stuff that he said about making his own beats and all that and writing his own lyrics are true. Usually you got like a team of people or something like that to help out with these things. But he is an independent artist paving the way right now for other artists to be able to be independent, not have to sign to a major label, and still be able to make money and prosper in the music industry, right? So that is a great thing about people like Tom McDonald, even though I don't necessarily agree with his ideologies and all that. It's good to see someone trying to buck the system.
Well, I do. Okay, so being around people who create music and are artists and try to make their own movies or whatever all the time now, I get to see a lot of these different people. And I mean, I can't prove that he's right or if he's telling the truth, but honestly, I believe him.
Right.
I do believe the fact that he's saying that his girlfriend shoots the videos and the fact that he does make his own beats and he really comes up with his own scripts and everything like that for the videos and music. I can believe that's very possible. And he does the uploading and everything because a lot of people do that with their own stuff. When you're independent, that's really what you got to do. And you also downsize so you can, well, that's the best way to maximize your revenue. Because unless everything turns out to be a hit, you're really never going to be able to afford to pay everybody. So that's the thing is you can't really have a team of people because you have to consistently, feed those individuals.
Yep.
So if you're not hitting or popping all the time, you're not going to be able to do that. So that team is going to be decimated anyway. So you're best to have a very small operation like he's possibly doing now. Like, I mean, the videos, you can shoot those. It's not like they're overly fancy videos.
Crazy.
It's usually just him in the background dancing with some smoke or in some like some type of voodoo or
It
vandalized.
costs much at all.
No, it
Probably
looks
like a couple grand at the moment.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's a couple grand.
Yeah,
I mean, it looks like
It's probably spent more on the telephone, the iPhone that he shot it with.
than the actual video. Like seriously, like the props and stuff. There isn't really a whole lot. I mean, I could shoot that. Like what he does in his music videos, it's not that kind of. All he needs is some nice lighting and a good enough sound, and really all he needs is actually his song in the background while he's performing the music video. So honestly, his operation I feel like is very true to be that way. Right. And I think
he's cutting out all kinds of overheat.
Yeah, now to the point of him talking about being shadow banned and blocked off of these sites, I do believe that's possible too. Because even if you say or look on YouTube, there's a lot of channels. So like you were talking about earlier, like the chick on like Funky Frog Bait, I think is the name of her channel or whatever.
Right.
She, lame, kind of whack, YouTuber. I mean, I've listened to other women on the platform way more interesting than her. You know what I'm saying? I've seen way more that have a lot more pop and way more sizzle to their content than what she had going on.
Chad.
Wait, who's Chad?
I know you're not familiar with them, but I enjoy them. I think that is a woman YouTuber who deserves some more credit.
Yeah, okay. Well, see, that's a person out there. Chad. Shout out to Chad. Well, I'm just saying there are.
Deuces.
Oh, yeah. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you're up to this point in time in the video. But also, yeah, I definitely agree with that part. There's some people who kind of get pushed up in the algorithm, it seems. I know they built a base over a large amount of time. And then there's also people who kind of fall into the, back row. And it seems like it's impossible for their stuff to be seen. And he was talking about how he was on TuneCat or whatever, and he couldn't get his stuff really publicized. What was it?
TuneCore.
TuneCore, that's what it was. TuneCat. But still, and I can believe that because some companies don't like to push it. They just really don't, because they are controlled by the advertisers, a lot of them. So you're going to listen to your advertisers because that's what's making the money for the platform.
Like you can't kill somebody on here or sell a little dope or have somebody butt naked, dog. You can't do that.
If you're making a movie, you possibly could.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So what content is he putting out that's being blocked other than just
challenging the status quo?
Bucking the system.
Yeah.
You got, like you said, if you listen to, you have to.
Man, I'm listening, but I mean, all this stuff I just mentioned is allowed.
But really,
It's allowed, but as a
what is
company,
he doing to a
but as a
point
company,
that is not allowed, though? That's all I'm
bucking the
saying.
system. They don't like bucking the system music. You know,
Okay, but I mean,
so we're not gonna put it out. If it's your platform, you have the choice whether to put
but
it
you
out or
willing
not.
to put out this other stuff.
That's your choice.
well, it's like
First of all, it's because he's a independent artist.
Yeah.
Because he's not feeding the monster.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. He
Plus,
doesn't
you gotta
have
pay
a-
your dues.
so
you
he
gotta
ain't-
pay
okay.
that fee.
Mhm.
If you don't want to pay that fee, that's why he was
That's
asking
why he's
about
not getting that push.
Grammys.
That's why
Right.
they're trying to-
He's not gonna get no
So they
Grammys.
just
Blacklist
He's not gonna
can't
count.
win.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, pretty much. Just like that.
in a way.
Yeah,
Because he's
and
not-
like I said, at least I mean, he's probably like by cutting out all his overhead, making plenty of money, but not that money.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it.
And so, like, luckily, you know, his video got a lot of views on YouTube. And he, like you said, he's got like 40, 50 million views, you know, worth of content. So he's made some good money on YouTube. But it's really hard to quantify with artists on how to make money nowadays. That's why a lot of them still go on tour. And that's why a lot of them still go perform.
They
Because
don't even count sales no more.
no, because they don't get sales really, because
Right.
they're all
It's all
downloads.
Streaming.
Yeah, streaming and
and
download.
you got to get a lot of streams to get
And you don't need no
That's
record label
Yeah.
You
to
don't.
get screams.
But
You did, but
if
you do need to find
Yeah.
something hot.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You need hot songs. You need to be
Yeah.
able to put them out consistently. And you need to
And
be
you got to put the
kinda good at
uniform
what you
on.
do. Right. Yeah. But if you want access to more opportunities, such as movie placement or show placement, it's kind of hard for independent artists to have that leverage or even have the knowledge necessary to do those types of things without having the backing of a major label.
Yeah, and that's true. All right,
Yeah.
let's get back to it.
I think the press is there, and I think that the proof is in the pudding. I have access to the sales numbers, as do many other people. So I think it would be pretty hard for Billboard at this point in time to just blatantly snub us on the Billboard charts.
Can you make one promise finally, Tom, which is if you do
The fact that it was bigger than his.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not that it's bigger. It's just, I mean, the fact that those two songs were number 2 and 3.
Right.
What,
You know
his
what I'm saying?
songs?
Yeah. Well, no, it's Megan Thee Stallion. I mean, she's what's next on the list. But then,
Right,
yeah, it's
yeah.
just
I
randomly.
said it went back real fast because I was trying to get the look. So she was number 2
She was 2 and
2
3.
and 3.
and 3.
Okay.
And I heard people didn't really care for those songs that much either. But hey, they're downloaded. I mean, because people are listening to it. But I think the reviews on some of them are.
It was a Nicki Minaj diss, but
yeah.
we don't want to stray too far from this.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
All right.
you get there, you don't make as part of your celebration a decision to do a whole album with Ben Shapiro. I don't think any of us could stomach that.
I
Probably
can
not even
absolutely
you.
make that promise. I can absolutely make that promise.
Tom, congratulations on the success. I love the record because I see what you're doing with it, and I applaud you for it. It's sending up a lot of double standard, and I think that's important. Thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Pierce.
Okay, now,
Okay, now I want to know, why do they get to choose what's double standard?
right.
You know, they the one putting the music out.
Right.
So what's the problem? I don't get it.
Well, they're not putting the music out.
Well, I'm talking about
But you saying white people.
yeah.
Yeah,
They
but,
the one.
but they're not those white people.
No.
So they don't look at it the same way. They wonder why, like, certain artists like Sexy Red and them like that are really getting all the music and the clout. Megan Thee Stallion, you know,
Right.
Nicki Minaj. Because, I mean, that's the point of the conversation I really agree with. It is the drill and the trap music that is the most flaunted out there, and it's the ones that
it's the dangerous music.
Yeah, the dangerous music is what's pushed
The
out there. And honestly, I
trifling
think it just comes from a place they don't care about us.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that our music
But
is
it's
detrimental
right.
to us, to destroy us, that doesn't
That's
matter.
it.
People pushing and backing these types of songs and all that. Granted, the audience is probably primarily black, but I mean,
There's still a lot of white people that listen to it.
right.
And by music
Enough.
having that type of influence on people, the more they push it, the more it's bred in us to be that way. And then, like I said, a lot of people listen to this drill. Like I said, that's what they do.
Right.
This stuff is coming to a point they acting it out, you know. And then, like I said, they don't want to take rap music and clean it up and make it some type of positive thing. So they seeing what it having. They really seeing what type of influence it's actually having on minority children. And that's what it is. Kind of like being pushed on the kids, because in certain neighborhoods, bad neighborhoods, you're hearing this music at a young age.
Yeah.
It's in the house.
Then that's parenting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
it is.
saying. But the parent got it playing in the house.
Right. So
And it's being pushed, and this is what you hearing. So that's what the kid grow up on, and that's kind of like what you know. And then, like, this is my music. Like, you know, we grew up on our rap music, you know, whatever. NWA, Too Short. They was talking Luke, Uncle Luke, you know, and to a certain degree, depending on where you live and how far you willing to go to let this music control you, but it is a part of you. You know what I'm saying? Regardless.
I think a lot of it does go back to parenting, though. I mean, sort of like we can listen to rap music and listen to gangster rap. I mean, you can grow up listening to some of the most savage, terrible music you can possibly, you know, imagine. But it doesn't mean you actually have to live that lifestyle. But some of those people are already living that lifestyle.
Yeah.
And it's already, it just continues to reinforce those behaviors
those
over and
negative
over
traits,
again.
yes.
And
They take
guess
it to
what?
another
And there's
level.
a lot of people in them places. And guess what? They all listen to the music. So thus the views and the popularity of it rises.
There are still a lot of people who mimic this type of music.
Yeah.
And
I
aren't
agree
really
with
living
that.
that lifestyle.
Yeah.
But because
Fake
it's
gangsters.
successful
Yeah.
and, you know, you get a lot of viewership from it, they choose to reinforce that BS. And sometimes they get a little bit ridiculous with it. But, you know, one of the things I did wanted to touch on about the video and about Tom McDonald is he does this type of like, white people are oppressed.
Nah, that ain't true.
No.
Like,
That's the
don't
part
do
of it.
that.
white people
No.
are victims
Nah.
in this new modern America.
No.
And if white people are victims, they are the victim of their own whiteness. Like,
Well, it's kind of like what goes
I mean-
around comes around.
right.
So if you kind of do a person a certain way, at some point, it's going to come back on you and you might be put in that position. And it's not oppression. It's just you can't do somebody like what happened in our past and think at no point you'll never
Then
see
he's-
that happen to you.
then you
To
said
some form.
you know you trying to say that he's telling the truth.
I mean, he's not oppressed, but yes,
was-
it's kind of like you can't. It's like I said, you reap what you sow.
Then he's telling the truth.
So I mean,
He's not
You're
a-
seeing
right,
it now.
but-
He wasn't. I agree.
No.
Let me clear this
Yes.
up. He wasn't that then, like they always say. You wasn't there when this began and how all this process came about. You are the one that's kind of reaping what you sow from what your ancestors set in place. So somebody got to pay a price. So it could be mentally where you feel like because you like, what I do to put myself in this situation and feel this way. Well, if you look back on history, then you will understand how that came about. And you the one, it's just like people benefiting from something that, you know, a lot of stuff that happened in the past, and all of a sudden, okay, I'm benefiting, I'm getting it because my ancestor did so many things. Now I'm actually the beneficiary of living his life now. That's the same with them. How you put people through things and what you going through and where you are today, you the one that's reaping the repercussions of things that were set in place a long time ago.
I just feel like
you still just said what he said is true. That's why
Yeah,
he can feel.
yeah, you're
he's
right.
feeling
He's just the one that's being put in that position. So yes, it's true.
But he's speaking in white in general. So you believe white people now are being oppressed against?
I'm saying he can feel that because he's the one.
But you can see that.
Huh?
But you saying you see that?
Well, hold on. I can see. Well, I know what you're saying. Like, it's not that they're necessarily being oppressed, but there are a large segment of them that do believe they're being oppressed. You know what I'm saying? That's how they're playing. They're playing the victimhood card. A lot of them, because now you can't make gay jokes. It's sort of like the thing about comedy. You can't do a lot of the same stuff you used to do. And what do a lot of the, stereotypical white people want to do? They want to go back to the way things were before. Right. Yeah. They want things to be restored. So I want to be able to say my racist jokes and be okay. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to get canceled.
I want to be ignorant. And not get in trouble for it.
Yeah. Now, and the thing is, now,
I just want to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like I used to.
Now,
because I could do anything. You know what I'm saying? Now I got to think about everything. Yeah. That is difficult.
That is,
when you put in that situation now, you got to really think about what you're doing.
Everybody has to now.
But
that's it.
They do.
Exactly.
They do. But a lot of them. But guess who gets way more flack a lot of times? Because who has the who has the biggest margin for error?
Whites.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that,
most of the time, it doesn't matter where they go because of the past. Yeah. They're going to be wrong.
Yeah.
Because if they continue to try to say the things that we used to be allowed to say and stuff like that, they're usually the most wrong because it's like, well, y'all are the reason why this was a problem in the first place. You know, that's what it kind of comes from.
You made the problem.
And so a lot of people now.
And you was comfortable when it was okay then.
Because really what wokeness has become is this over-acceptance of everything. This over-acceptance of, LGBTQ plus and over-acceptance of minorities and, everything that's happened, whether it's trans surgeries, and people don't like it. They just don't. They don't like the fact that you can't, or the comedy that people used to put out, you can't say the same things you used to anymore because a lot of it was tongue-in-cheek and a lot of it was harmless. And the thing is now it seems like even if it is harmless, it's just deemed as demonized. It's just demonized. Yeah. You can't really say this stuff without becoming a bad person or canceled or you're a misogynist or something like that. But you can't talk about women in such a way anymore. Like you can't make jokes and call them the B word as much as anymore. You can't even say the R word for retarded. You can't say that anymore. There's a lot of things that have been just removed.
Yeah. No, that group said we're not gonna accept it, and we're gonna put money on the table, make sure it don't happen.
Yeah.
You see, you can't say certain things that like, it makes you nervous to say the F word. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But you could easily say the N word.
Yeah, you just can't because
because there is no money behind it. Mm-mm. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. There's no demands behind it. You see what I'm saying? Because you're not gonna get in trouble.
It's feelings behind.
No, money.
I say it's feelings behind it.
What do you mean?
If somebody say it, the only thing you get into is your feelings.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that's resolved.
People don't even get offended by it.
I'm saying that's an optional thing that you talking about.
People get offended by
everything. That's the only thing you can.
That's why we in this position.
Say,
but you can get away with. You can get away scot free.
Oh yeah. Oh, they'll let you recover from saying it. And it depends on where you said it.
Yeah.
If you say it like on a live television or some type of like Netflix special, it might not, fly as well.
Yeah.
But if you do it on a YouTube video, 2 weeks later, people forgot about it.
Yeah,
that's just kind of how it is.
But if you say something derogatory to one of them other groups, you through.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of people.
What happened to him?
Okay, so the one thing I wanted to say, Tom McDonald may be oppressed as a rap artist.
That's about it.
Oh, okay. That's a good way to look at it.
Oppressed as a white person in America.
Or Canadian.
Or Canada.
Okay, I basically because he's from Canada.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
It's kind of like the Tiger, was he oppressed when he came out on the court, start playing golf? It's like, I don't know, where my people at?
Yeah.
He had to accept his position. If he gonna go out here, because it wasn't nobody out there but him and VJ Singh. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? And I don't know if him and VJ were right there. I don't know.
They didn't talk like that.
It didn't seem like Notable Gay, somebody, he had a couple.
Yeah, I forgot about him too, yeah.
But yeah, it's like I'm gonna have to figure this obstacle course out and how it works. If I'm gonna actually enter the field, kind of like what you're saying with Tom McDonald. You put yourself in the rap game. So you open yourself up for some type of criticism because, like I said, everybody ain't gonna embrace you. And like you say, he from Canada. You know, it ain't like he from New York, ATL, or somewhere. You know,
Los Angeles. I mean, he from Miami-Dade County.
Yeah,
I mean,
somewhere. He from Canada. So I mean.
There's already a stipulation attached to being Canadian.
Yeah, they always act like you can't go through hardships being a Canadian or something like that. People act
like
a
really nice person.
Yeah. They got free medical.
And honestly, no, the truth of the matter, Tom McDonald might honestly be a really nice person in real life, to be real. Like, he just makes rap music that some people may or may not like.
Right. Like I said, it's that sometimes you get caught up with the uniform.
Yeah, I feel like, but see, one thing I do notice is they're not the only ones who feel this way. It's not they're the only ones who's walking around feeling oppressed about this.
Audience,
but there are a lot of people who stand with them in the fact that they don't like the fact that you can't be 100% your authentic self anymore. Exactly. And that's where, like, so a lot of black people have started signing on and jumping on to that wagon, which is why you start seeing a lot more people jump on the Trump wagon this time around, because a lot of people are like, yeah, man, we just can't be the same way we used to be anymore, man. And I'm sick and tired of it. It's them libs, it's them lefties and all this stuff like that. And that's how a lot of people have turned this argument into, is that the liberals have taken over, and that, and a lot of times you see it. It does kind of get pushed down in your face that you can't say or do certain things without being canceled or being demonized. And it's like, dude, I literally
getting your platform taken away.
Yeah, get your platform completely taken away. You have no issues with these people, really. Like, you don't. But you might have a slip of tongue, or you make a joke that some people didn't find funny, and next thing you know, it's ball game. And there's a lot of black people who feel like the same way. And there's also some people who just look at it like, well, you know what? This is the environment that we live in. Just gonna have to change and adapt. And that's just the way it is. Or some people just find a way to be like, look, I'm saying these jokes, or I want to make these movies or make this music. Y'all can take it or leave it. I'll have my audience, or I won't. That's it.
That's it.
Or I'll go independent, or I'll roll with it, because maybe you'll just have to go independent. Maybe you don't get to sign on with industries like Dave. People were just willing to take Dave because he just pulls numbers, period. I mean, he's just going to. So Netflix is willing to sign him, and you can go ahead and make as many specials as you need. But there's some other places who won't touch him. But you did find somebody who's willing to take him. Somebody
would do it. Big audience.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can go independent and just go a different route. Yeah. So like Cat Williams was talking about, I'm just going to do me. It's okay that I don't have to, get on my knees and beg for my, career, or I had to sign off with the extra things that he was talking about for the others, like Cedric the Entertainer, Steve Harvey, and whatnot.
Right.
But you got to, in order to have that, you got to put in that work. You gonna have to work a little bit harder than the regular guy, because you want those things.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
If you ain't willing to put in that extra work, it just don't happen.
And when you go that route, it's kind of like deciding, do I want to make 2 to 3 to 4 million, or do I want to make 2 to 3 to 400 million?
Yeah, sometimes.
And that's the decision, because once you start selling yourself out to the industry, or however, you making movies, you got shows, you don't even have to worry about touring or doing it. Most of them, like I said, once they got to a certain point, don't even worry about that.
It's done for you.
Yeah, it's like it's already taken. I'm gonna make these movies. I'm gonna have TV shows. I can host like Steve Harvey. What, 18 jobs or something like that. So hey, if you lose a job, it's just like, this man is gonna make money. Like I said, certain people gonna make money. But like I said, Cat might, I guess I think his net worth about $2 million. Which is great.
His net worth is way bigger than that.
I'm saying
he said that's what I'm just saying.
I'm saying that's what
said it.
What I'm saying is that's what I saw, and if that's what his net worth is, that's great. But I mean, it's probably more, but I'm thinking I'm living pretty good at $2 million a year. What you think?
I mean, yeah.
It's a great living.
Not if you don't put in 18 years. Like, what I'm saying, it's not a lot. That's not a lot of money.
Anybody that's making $2 million a year, you living good. that's a good living.
No, you said
all I'm
his
saying.
worth.
But if you willing to go and sell yourself out, you can make 200 or 300 million, live a whole lot better. But I'm not missing no meals. I got a nice crib. I got what I want. If I'm making $2 million a year, so and like I said, however that works out. But I'm looking at this number. I think that number right there would take care of me.
Don't get fixated on the number. The point
Yeah, I
being,
know it ain't.
but the point being is that, like what even Cat Williams said in the interview with Shannon Sharp, was that they don't have anything that I want.
Right.
Nothing. Don't matter how much more money they actually have, they don't have anything that he wants. So no matter
Or
how much
can't get. That's what
yeah,
he was
you know
getting.
what I'm saying? Like that. He has enough. So his net worth might not be anywhere near theirs, but they just have more money. But they don't really have anything more than, they don't have a much more fulfilling life because of so. They just have more money.
That's it.
I do think he was trying to say too is that he really do got a whole lot of money.
Oh, he probably does.
Yeah,
I mean, but,
and
it's
just
nowhere,
because he's not making it that way, because like he said, he's still making the money.
he's making money, but he's not making what they're making.
He's not making. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
He's
saying.
not making what
That's
they're
why I'm
making.
just going with a number what they put out there compared to this other number.
To round this off,
Yeah.
the one statement that I will agree with universally, no matter whether you are black, brown, white, yellow, red, purple, blue,
Or tan.
or tan, or beige,
midget.
Yeah.
right? Or short, tall,
Yeah.
homosexual, heterosexual,
Don't leave nobody
transsexual,
out.
Skinny.
Don't leave
non-binary,
nobody out there.
whatever.
And there's a lot of denominations
you
out there.
are.
Keep going.
Whatever
Keep going.
denomination,
Keep it going. Nah, I just.
whatever denomination you fall under, I will always agree with the metaphor, not the literal phrase.
Yeah.
Artists should not have to put on a dress to see success.
Yeah.
I like that. I think
shouldn't.
most people agree.
I just don't think there's nothing wrong with that.
The metaphor, not the literal phrase.
not the little thing.
The
He's
literal
not-
Oh, okay.
phrase.
Yeah, that's the metaphor.
Metaphorically. Yeah, you shouldn't have to. Okay, but
Yeah.
if you acting and all that, but you shouldn't have to sell your tail to get some money.
Yeah.
If that's not what you want to do, it's like it's just like kind of going back to
But
Chris Tucker when he
you
said he didn't want to be known as a pothead.
Yeah.
Because he's smoky. So he like, I did that one time, I'm done. Because I could see it being something that could hinder his career.
It would, because in that industry, that's what it does. It just that's what you become. You become that most famous role that you
would
do.
have locked us because it took a minute for Lil Rand's take to not be old dog.
Well, yeah. Well, think about it like this: the guy who plays House. I mean, what else is he really going to be able to play besides House? He is House.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The guy, with the limp. You know what I'm saying? That's who he is. There is no other roles really he can play. He could probably play him great.
I thought that until I've seen people change.
No, they can. No, it's not that they can't.
roles. Yeah,
but the opportunities given to him seem to be taken away
Locked
because
in.
it gets so
because you are
typecasted.
this, right? Yeah.
And some of them can only
as.
bounce back by putting time between and coming back later.
Like Jim Carrey.
Some people got to get away and then just sneak back in the game almost.
Yeah, like Jim Carrey is a really talented actor, but he had a hard time getting from anything that was crazy, outrageous comedy because that's just who he was for so long. That's why he stopped.
Yeah, he banged a bunch up.
Yeah, because
So
they just
that
wouldn't
was
let him
it.
do it. They just wouldn't cast him like that, like in a serious role. He got a couple, but he wouldn't get casted in anything that he really wanted to do later because he was known as being the absolutely goofy, hilarious white guy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's just what he
The
was. He was
cable
Ace
guy.
Ventura.
The
He was
cable
on
guy.
in Living Color.
He was
Fire
Fire Marshal
crazy
Bill.
white guy.
Yeah.
Hey,
The movie?
me, myself, and Irene.
Almighty,
Yeah, my God, yeah.
Almighty Steve or Almighty Bruce or what?
Yeah,
what
Bruce
was it?
Almighty.
Bruce
Yeah.
Almighty.
Yeah, Bruce.
That was
Bruce
another
Almighty,
good one.
wasn't that the first one?
It was Bruce Almighty.
Okay.
There was another one.
And there was a Bruce Almighty too. And there was another
Pet
Almighty.
Cop or something. Wasn't
No, it was a something Almighty. It was a different Almighty.
But yeah, and then the mask, like every character
and the
that
mask,
he plays is
Over-
just crazy white guy.
Over the top.
Zany white
Yeah,
guy.
crazy.
That was all of his roles until he finally decided to break away from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes a lot of energy to be what he was doing out there. That's
Right.
a lot for all them films and be the feature. I mean, the movies were him. If there's no Jim Carrey, the movie does not do anything.
Now, one thing I will say, whether or not the people accept you for anything outside of what you are is one thing. right?
Yeah.
But the industry should not force you to be one thing.
The industry gonna say the people want you to be this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's exactly
That's what they gonna say.
And you know,
we
the
want old dog.
Yeah, because you
I was
made a
pissed
lot
off,
of money on that road.
Every
Yeah.
time
And
I
they
see
like, we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 because it made money.
That's why.
That's it.
And another reason why, another theory, sorry to cut you off, is like another theory is why they end up continuously putting black people in dresses is because guess what? It kept working.
making money.
It kept bleeding money. People liked it. People laughed. I laughed. I can't sit here and act like I didn't think that stuff wasn't funny.
Like I'm telling you,
Greg, you
my deal was funny to me.
Yeah.
Big Mama House
Was funny.
was funny to me.
Yeah,
I didn't
one was
watch.
hilarious.
Yeah, I didn't watch too much of Big Mama House 2, but Big Mama House 1 was funny.
Yeah, it was. It was hilarious. They didn't need to make a second one, but
Right.
I really liked the first one. I did. Some of those movies are funny.
Hey,
some of those.
Norbit was funny.
Yeah. Okay. One last person. Sort of like another person that, in my mind, also one of my favorite actors, Kiefer Sutherland. He played 24 for 9 seasons. It's almost impossible not to see him as Jack Bauer. And then I watched him in other roles, and I remember thinking, it's going to be a moment where he kind of goes and turns into Jack Bauer here. And he didn't. He was just getting his ass whooped in like so many other roles. He was scared and submissive and all this different stuff. He wasn't a beast in many of these other like shows and other movies I've seen him in. And it does throw you off. You know what I'm saying? You expect that old character to come out, but that's not who they are. They are playing literally another character. But that's what happens sometimes.
I would say with him though, before he did that role,
oh yeah, he was other
he
things.
already had did a bunch. So it was like, okay, he didn't really get typecast. He just found the role and made a bunch of money off of it, probably. And
he became that role.
That
because he did. He had a lot more range.
But he had a history before that, so it wasn't hard for him to kind of get away from that.
Anywho,
what's
the next topic?
Well, either way, we're going to cut this one off here. Yeah. And we're going to start again. Well, thanks for rocking with us on this reaction that we did for, Ty McDonald and the Ben Shapiro diss track. And we'll be back with you soon. Peace.